Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins, once again revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume three key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to Big Pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit, and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. Now, we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not. The message was clear: go along or be punished. Now, senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth. Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci,
what's moving
as head of
online
the
right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here. From the Q Research Boards, June 22, 2026. Top story. Britain is in another leadership crisis. Keir Starmer is stepping down as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, setting off a major fight inside Labour and across Parliament. Starmer entered office with a large majority, but leaves after pressure from his own side and a public that has grown tired of economic strain, weak borders, censorship fights, and political instability. Britain now faces its 7th Prime Minister in 10 years. Starmer used his resignation speech to defend his record, speak about his family, and call for an orderly transition. He admitted Labour had lost confidence in his leadership and said he would support the process to choose a successor. The question now is not just who replaces Starmer, but whether the British people will accept another leader chosen inside the system without a general election. The fight to replace Starmer is already moving toward Andy Burnham. Burnham is being promoted as a reset candidate, but critics are pointing to his past failed leadership attempts and questioning whether he represents change or just a new face on the same failing Labour machine. The Labour Party is now fighting for control of its own future while the country watches. Reform UK is demanding a general election after Starmer's resignation. The argument is simple. If the Prime Minister changes without a direct vote from the people, the next leader may have power but not a real mandate. Reform sees this as a major opening to challenge Labour, challenge the establishment, and force the public back into the decision. Online reaction to Starmer's resignation has been brutal. Anons and political commentators are calling it a collapse of the Labour project, not just the fall of one man. The anger is focused on immigration, the economy, censorship, public safety, and Britain's direction. The next Prime Minister will inherit a country that is already out of patience. Domestic politics. President Trump returned to the White House after a weekend at Camp David, stepping back into a fast-moving week of Iran talks, domestic cleanup efforts, and major political news overseas. The administration's public posture is aggressive and active, with the White House posting the message, "We on go," as supporters read it as a signal of momentum. Trump is pushing his Making D.C. Safe and Beautiful campaign after vandalism around the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Officials say arrests and citations have been made, and Trump says repair work will begin immediately. The reflecting pool has become a symbol of the larger fight over public order, national pride, and the condition of America's capital. The White House says the effort to make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful again is moving forward. Trump says more people have been arrested in connection with vandalism near the reflecting pool, and federal officials say offenders will be prosecuted. The administration is framing the issue as a direct test of whether national monuments will be protected or surrendered to disorder. Trump is again going after the New York Times, calling its coverage corrupt and dishonest. His latest criticism focuses on Iran and the results of months of conflict. Trump says the media is ignoring military, economic, and diplomatic changes that prove his strategy is working, while the press continues to downplay the damage done to Iran's war machine. Trump also rejected claims that the war with Iran produced little change. He argued that Iran's military capacity, Navy, Air Force, missile production, drone production, and economy have been badly damaged, His message is that America negotiated from strength and that the press is refusing to acknowledge the battlefield and diplomatic reality. President Trump's social media post featuring Margot Katzimatidis drew attention online. Katzimatidis is the wife of businessman John Katzimatidis, a major figure in New York business and political circles. The post created questions about its meaning, its timing, and the possible political message behind it. A judge has rejected President Biden's attempt to block the release of ghostwriter interview recordings, then paused the matter for appeal. The case keeps attention on Biden's handling of classified information, the role of his ghostwriter, and the public's right to see what was said. The legal fight now turns on how much of the material Americans will eventually hear. New material tied to COVID origins, and Anthony Fauci is renewing scrutiny over past government statements, intelligence disputes, and accountability. Republicans are also raising questions about Biden's auto pen pardon. The issue is not going away. COVID accountability, government secrecy, and the origin story remain active political and legal battles. Primary elections are taking place this week in New York, Maryland, and Utah. These contests will shape key state and federal races and help set the midterm battlefield. With control of Congress on the line, even lower-profile primaries matter. Candidate quality, turnout, and election rules will all be watched closely. An Oregon county is facing scrutiny over a housing assistance system that gives priority points to BIPOC and LGBTQIA2S+ homeless applicants. The fight is about whether public assistance should be based on need alone or filtered through identity categories. The dispute has become part of a larger national argument over fairness, government resources, and equal treatment under the law.
At shop.isawaya.com, everything you buy supports Acun.top, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our Acun Honey Pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toaster and tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's Acun Butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off Acun's tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isawaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help Acun.top keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
Start your day right with Ahoy the Ship Show, where real talk meets real energy. No fluff. No filter, just stories, opinions, and moments that matter. Catch us live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Your daily launch point for what you need to know, and a few things you didn't. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Switch gears with Night Owl News Archives. A laid-back dive into the week's biggest headlines and hidden gems. Miss a show? Visit don'tdeletemebro.com for notes, highlights, and extras. Tap in or get left behind.
Reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here. From the Q Research Boards, June 22, 2026. Election integrity. Senator Dave McCormick is pressing for the Save America Act and accusing opponents of blocking basic election safeguards. The bill focuses on proof of citizenship and voter identification for federal elections. Supporters say the issue is simple. American elections should be decided by eligible American citizens, and the system should prove it. Senator Mike Lee is also defending the Save America Act while discussing fraud allegations involving the Southern Poverty Law Center. Lee argues that election integrity should be treated as common sense, not controversy. The fight over the bill is becoming a larger battle over citizenship, trust, voter rolls, and whether the federal government will secure the process. Chuck Schumer is back in the election integrity spotlight as Republicans press him and Senate Democrats over voter, roll security, and the Save America Act. Critics argue that weak citizenship checks create an opening for illegitimate voters to remain in the system. The demand from election integrity advocates is straightforward: clean the rolls, verify citizenship, and protect legal votes. Latin America has seen a series of elections moving against left-wing parties and toward conservative or right-leaning candidates. Colombia's latest result adds to that pattern. The shift comes after the Trump administration moved away from old USAID-style foreign influence programs and toward a more direct America First posture in the region. Colombia has elected conservative lawyer Abelardo De La Espriella as its next president after a tight runoff. His victory marks a sharp rightward turn after years of left-wing leadership under Gustavo Petro. Secretary Marco Rubio congratulated De La Espriella, signaling closer cooperation between Washington and Bogotá on security, migration, and regional stability. International conflict. Vice President J.D. Vance delivered remarks in Switzerland after meetings connected to Iran and broader Middle East talks. He said progress had been made, including movement on nuclear inspections and keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. Technical talks are expected to continue as Washington pushes for a deal that blocks Iran's nuclear path and protects global energy routes. President Trump says the United States could become the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and potentially take a share of oil revenue if America is forced to secure the waterway. The message is direct. If the United States carries the burden of protecting the route, Trump believes America should not be treated like a free security service. Trump and his supporters argue Iran was nearing nuclear weapons capability and that decisive action was required. The administration's position is that a nuclear Iran would threaten Israel, the region, and the United States. Current talks are centered on inspections, deterrence, enforcement, and making sure Iran cannot use diplomacy as cover to rebuild. Commentary around the Iran deal is accusing major media outlets of hoping negotiations fail or minimizing Trump's position. The administration says Iran has been badly weakened and that talks are moving forward from a position of strength. The test now is whether the deal keeps Hormuz open, keeps inspectors in place, and blocks Iran's nuclear path. Trump accused the New York Times of using fake facts in its coverage of Iran and called the reporting treasonous in his opinion. The statement reflects his ongoing war with corporate media. Trump argues the press is refusing to acknowledge military and diplomatic progress in the Middle East while protecting its preferred narrative. CENTCOM shared imagery of two U.S. Air Force A-10 attack aircraft flying over the Middle East. The A-10 remains a visible symbol of close air support and American military presence. The post comes as U.S. forces continue to project strength during regional negotiations, and as the administration signals that diplomacy is backed by force. The U.S. Air Force says more than 2,000 joint and coalition personnel are involved in current operations and exercises. The message highlights readiness, coordination, and allied military strength. As tensions continue overseas, military posture remains a central part of America's foreign policy signal. The White House has unveiled a new Air Force One era, featuring a converted Boeing 747 that will serve as a presidential aircraft while the long-delayed replacement fleet remains pending. The plane is being presented as a symbol of strength, speed, and renewed American prestige. The U.S. capture of Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro earlier this year remains one of the most dramatic foreign policy events of Trump's second term. Reports say U.S. forces carried out the operation in Caracas and transported Maduro out of the country. The story continues to reshape U.S. policy toward Venezuela, Cuba, and Latin America. President Trump's Camp David schedule triggered intense speculation about Cuba and national security planning. The timing came as Washington watched Iran, Venezuela, and the wider Latin American chessboard. The Cuba question now sits inside a larger foreign policy picture: pressure on hostile regimes, tighter control of sea lanes, and a stronger U.S. posture close to home. Ramiro Valdez, one of the last major figures of the Cuban Revolution and a close ally of Fidel Castro, has died at 94. Valdez helped shape Cuba's revolutionary government and security apparatus for decades. His death marks the fading of another original figure from Castro's inner circle. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is pushing for approval to produce U.S.-designed Patriot missile interceptors in Ukraine. He says the need is urgent as Russia continues missile attacks. The proposal would expand Ukraine's defense capacity, but it still requires approval and coordination with the United States and defense contractors. A resurfaced Q-related post asks why Democratic congressmen attended a private dinner with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani in 2013. The issue being raised is elite access, foreign influence, and political double standards. The broader question remains simple. Who meets with hostile regimes, who benefits, and why does the public usually find out later? Reports say Israel asked Meta to remove large numbers of posts during the war, with thousands of takedown requests approved. The story raises major questions about government pressure on social media platforms and who controls wartime narratives online. Censorship and information control remain central issues in modern conflict.
Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Boards, June 22, 2026. Crime and Security. ICE actions from 2025 and 2026 remain central to the national debate over immigration, crime, and border enforcement. Supporters say the agency is targeting criminal networks, removing dangerous offenders, and restoring law and order. The enforcement push remains one of the clearest domestic markers of Trump's second-term agenda. A federal worker has been accused in connection with millions of dollars tied to COVID-era relief programs. Pandemic fraud remains one of the largest government accountability scandals from the COVID period. Federal investigators continue to pursue cases involving stolen benefits, false claims, insider abuse, and emergency money that never should have left the Treasury. WiseTech is under pressure after founder Richard White became the focus of a major investigation by Australian authorities. The company took a multi-billion-dollar market hit as investors reacted to the allegations and uncertainty around leadership. The financial fallout has already been significant, and the case now ties corporate governance to serious criminal scrutiny. The Edinburgh attack story is now drawing attention beyond the original crime report. Police made an arrest after suspected anti-Muslim attacks left several people injured, while online researchers are questioning whether AI-generated material helped shape part of the public narrative. The case now sits at the intersection of crime, social tension, and artificial intelligence. More than 250 runners are carrying an American flag across the country through Relay for America. The route runs from San Francisco to Washington, D.C., with a goal of arriving by July 4th for America's 250th birthday. The event honors veterans, national unity, and the Americans willing to carry the flag mile after mile. Tech and infrastructure. Asbestos has been found in parts used in at least 1,000 wind turbines across Britain. The material is white asbestos, banned in the United Kingdom since 1999, and appears to have come through imported components from China. Officials and unions are now seeking answers about cleanup, safety, quality control, and who allowed banned material into critical infrastructure. Microsoft has confirmed a recycle bin bug affecting supported Windows versions after a June update. The issue can cause the delete confirmation box to show an internal file name instead of the normal readable name. Microsoft says the bug affects the dialog display, not the actual file name or restore function. Even the trash needs debugging. A culture and tech story gaining attention claims some women are turning to witchcraft-themed communes and alternative spiritual communities. The larger issue is spiritual emptiness and the search for belonging outside traditional faith and family structures. In a digital age full of noise, isolation is driving people towards substitute identities and substitute belief systems. Political memes are moving faster than official statements in this news cycle. Starmer's resignation, Trump's posts, Iran talks, the Colombia election, and the reflecting pool fight are all being turned into shareable commentary. In modern politics, memes are not just jokes, they are part of the information war. Bigger change marks the archive transition point in this rundown. The show now moves from hard news and security stories into culture, morale, faith, and closing notes. It is a production marker, but it also fits the larger theme. The system changes names, faces, and slogans, while the public tries to track what actually matters. Closing segment. Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan has died at the age of 100. Greenspan led the Fed from 1987 to 2006 and helped shape modern U.S. monetary policy through crashes, booms, and global crises. His legacy remains one of the most debated in American economic history. Ivanka Trump marked Father's Day with a public message honoring fathers. The post joined a broader wave of Father's Day messages from public figures, military branches, and patriotic accounts. The theme was simple: honor fathers, grandfathers, and the men who hold families together. The U.S. Navy shared Father's Day messages honoring Navy dads. The post recognized service members who balance military duty with family responsibility. For many families, Father's Day is also a reminder of sacrifice, deployment, and the quiet strength required at home while service continues elsewhere. The U.S. Army marked the first day of summer with a "Bringing the Heat" message. Military social media continues to use sharp, energetic messaging to promote readiness and morale. The post fits a broader push to present the armed forces as active, prepared, and proud. A former porn industry figure is warning people to reject pornography and consider its effects on the mind, relationships, and human dignity. The message fits a larger cultural pushback against digital addiction and sexual exploitation. The argument is simple: what people consume privately can still shape public character. Message of the day: become dangerous or stay average. That does not mean reckless or violent. It means disciplined, skilled, informed, and hard to manipulate. In a time of propaganda, corruption, and weakness, competence itself becomes a form of resistance. Bible verse of the day. The news cycle changes by the hour, but Scripture calls people back to wisdom, courage, and discernment. In a time of confusion, fear, and political upheaval, faith remains a foundation. Stay alert, stay grounded, and test what you hear. That is the rundown. Britain is facing another leadership collapse. America is pressing election integrity and law enforcement. The Middle East remains under pressure. Latin America is shifting right. Tech and censorship are shaping the battlefield. And the closing message is simple: stay informed, stay disciplined, and do not outsource your judgment.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. See you soon.